Hi, I'm Emma and I'm the artist behind Unsteady Art. So I don't usually record on the days I usually work. It's just a lot of stress on me, but in this case I'm gonna have to. My lovely husband has bought me the DJI Mic 3 to go with my Action 5, which I'm recording on now. I am going to do it in two ways. So one is with you on YouTube and the other one is as a YouTube short, because I'm finding a lot more engagement on shorts at the moment now, whether or not it's the fact that I'm still quite a small creator in this very, very vast world of YouTube, or I don't know, any other part of it. So like I said, I'm going to unbox it with both of you and hopefully I'll get some good views out of it. So don't forget, like, subscribe. Love to hear what your comments are too. So my husband David decided to treat him and his best friend, who were going to the lodge this weekend, to something nice and warm and fluffy. So he ended up with a blanket hoodie for the pair of them, but the issue is they're both the same colour. So he decided he wanted to design onto it with some choice words. Now I have to admit, some of them were absolutely hilarious, but I refuse to do them. And these are what he stayed on. So for Chris it's afternoon napper, for himself it's retro gamer. So he's doing the basic of digitising. So in the Melco software we have got a vast library of lettering. So all I needed to do was type the letters in, right click and then select edit properties. So you've then got long lists of different fonts which you can choose from, and depending on what type of garment that you're doing, there is micro for very small lettering, puff pizzas as well. And so yeah, he's just looking through that, selecting what he wants, resizing it, and it's near enough ready to go. So this is the one for Mark's son. So this one was a lot harder, but not the hardest I've done for digitising. So it's working out layers. One, which is the biggest area that you can cover. Then you're looking at which would be over the top of another, because you've got to have an overlap on both sides. You're then looking at the different colours, whether or not they match. Then there's the outline. So it kind of is like drawing, but in more of a built up scenario. Not like 3D, just sort of putting pages on top of pages to create an image. It is something that I've always enjoyed doing, and I found easy because it reminds me of tracing. Compared to actually drawing and digitising is brilliant. And compared to 3D pieces, that's a nightmare. An absolute nightmare is 3D pieces, because you do have to think completely in 3 dimensions. You look around on the other side, you'll find something that looks like perfectly fine on one side, and then you turn it over and it's completely out. Then you've got to start moving it around so it looks right. So this is really quite easy in the grand scheme of things, and hope you enjoy it. So this is the DJI Mic 3. So I've got a USB-C cable. I've got a few, I can't remember what they're called, some of the cats. Basically they are to clip onto the mics. So if I can grab one of the mics out. So when it comes to these, they have got a clip that is magnetised and you can turn them round. I will play around later because apparently I forgot. Oh, there we go. So it can move from one side to the other. These are to put on the top. So when it's really windy, it just takes the edge out of them. So I've got 2 of these. The transmitter, which things that don't 100% go onto the mics themselves can be transmitted through there. Sometimes you do have to have the audio outs, and you've got your power and your lock button as well. On the back, got this bit that is meant to slide. Got these bits here, which is the USB-C, and then some of the cases here. With this also has the clip that can go on. We've got a USB-C, which should go on here. There we go. So that comes off, that goes on, and anything that's got a USB-C then can be plugged into there. You've also got there. These are so hard to get off. So that can go on to there. I've got 2 mics, so 2 people can actually be on simultaneously. There we go. They magnetise really well in here, and they are charging from there as well. This also can charge up, which means that everything can be charged up for when I go, everything fits in. So I'm going to charge this thing up. I'm also going to test it out on the camera, which I'm recording on now, and hopefully I'll get some use out of it when I next see you. So let's go. Welcome back, everyone. So today hasn't really gone to plan. One, I forgot to record the bit that I did before, but I've still got another one to stitch out. But when I last saw you, I actually bought the DJI Mic 3, which belongs to my DJI Action 5 Pro that I've got you on at the moment. So I'm going to try these, and hopefully they're going to work. So what should happen is I get it out and pick it out, and it should automatically connect. No idea if it is. We'll find out in a bit. So it's usually about 1 span down, and the microphone's facing up. So I'm just going to play this back just so I know it's worked, and I'll see you in a minute. So I did need to re-link it, so it wasn't working on that bit, but it should be doing now. Quick glance at the camera, I can actually see now the green bar at the top that's moving as I'm speaking, so confident that it's working now. I just don't know what the quality's like. So I'll get on to what I was doing. So my husband has bought 2 of these big blankety things that you can wear. So the bit that I completely forgot to record was the one that he wanted, which is Retro Gamer. It still has the plastic on, and that still needs removing. There was things that went wrong with it, and I'll explain that now. So put that over there for getting that done. So this is the other one. So this one is going to have the afternoon napper, which is what you should have just seen digitise. When I was stitching the one for my husband, the Retro Gamer, there was a few things that went wrong. So one of it was it's done on the pocket. To get it through the pocket, you have to change orientation so it doesn't nip. But there's far too little a gap between it. So what I had to do is put a bit of card underneath it just to separate it, so it wasn't picking the material up, because that really damaged me embroidery machine last time, and I don't want repeating. The other things that I need to test out is a few of the caps. So this is from my friend Mikey, who's commissioned this one. There's 2 hats to do. One with the car club that he's with. The other is with the work he works at, which is Vehicle Windows Centre, if I remember rightly. I'm going to have to do a test of the work one, and it's because they've got very, very, very small writing. And I've got a funny feeling I'm going to need to either double up with the stitching, because it is single thread that's going across, spelling it out. I've measured between it and it should fit at 5.5. It is a circle, so I've got a funny feeling that when I do the test I'm going to need to bring it in a bit, because circles are very notorious. In fact, anything is. When you do a blanket of a fill stitch, it stretches out. So as you are stitching, the fabric moves. As much as you've got every stabiliser going, it still can move. So sometimes you've got to drag it in to be able to fill the gaps up. Then you've got the lettering, which if that shrinks, that might then go over the top or not enough, or it just goes wrong. So I'm going to do a tester on a flat before I actually do the product, just to see if I can narrow it down before I put it onto a blank that I can only use once or twice, because I'd want to do at least the first one trying to get the blank correct, then having to do several on other sides just to be able to get it correct. So that's one. The other one is with these, so 2 polo shirts from Fruit of the Loom, 1 adults, 1 kids. So what I've done here, these are the designs. So I've got Roadhog, which is going for the adults, and then Sportsman. So I did this in 2 different sizes. The issue that you get is, with it being a kids, sometimes the big one will be way, way too big. It's not too bad because this is a 9 to 11, where if it was, say for example, a 5 to 6, it might not have even fit the big hoop in. So I did give him the choice of the 2 just to see. The only thing that I did need to change though was, or didn't change, is the Sportsman, because as that increased in size, it meant that it wasn't then satin stitches, it was kind of going into a fill stitch, which would have made it look very scruffy. The stitches wouldn't have been even, nothing like that. So that's all the ones I need to do, at least for this week. May cross over 2 weeks for you, but the testers and things like that is definitely going to be done with you this week. So let me change the camera angle and I'll show you what I'm doing with this quilted hoodie. So I've yet again got the camera up here. I'm purposely doing it because I have started doing YouTube shorts and they've been doing a lot better. So if you are watching this on YouTube shorts or even YouTube, check them out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So idea is, I need to fill this with quite a few things. One, I need to separate these 2 off. So I need the stabiliser to go in. I need the card to go underneath it, and then technically that to go there. So all this is to go in there so it doesn't get caught up. So put the card in. But these ones my husband bought just for the fact that it was on clearance, and they are going away to the lodge. So I'm going to turn this upside down so the curve is actually going downwards. I need to scurry that in. Need to put that in the middle and it just fits. There we go. Because of the material and that it flakes, you do need the plastic top. So this is a topper stabilizer, water soluble. It just means that it tears away and then it pops out. So now I've got that. Put you kind of low so I can actually show you what I was meaning. So putting this onto there. So basically that is very close. So I've put these on just to secure it down, and that means that that can go between and it's not going to pick any of the material up. So I'm going to play you now and see how it goes. Hey everyone, so it is the next day and last day of recording. So if you do like this, please like, subscribe, comment, love to hear what you're saying. So, did manage to finish them off. I've got my husband's, which is Retro Gamer, and Chris's, which is the one that I usually do Cthulhu for. Where's his? And his is Afternoon Napper. So these are both going down on their holidays with them, just to keep them warm. So yeah, they'd be sent away. So what's left? And I've got to do the two hats. But before I even do any of it, I've got the material to do the testers. The tester for the hat is just to make sure that the lettering is strong enough to stand out. So just before I do the testers, I'm just going to check the sizes, because if I do the testers and then I have to smallen it, the wording will be smaller too. So this is for where he works. Generally we could go a bit bigger with that one, make it a bit easier. But I've also got to be careful as well, because you've got to leave at least, just take that off. So you've got to leave at least a centimetre down here, just so it's not coming into contact with the metal wire that goes over the top. And you don't want it too far at the top or too wide, because it can bunch up. The other one, there's this one. So that's where it'll place. So once again, we could probably go a little bit higher again with this one. If we did do it that side, we'd have to make sure that it's a bit higher from the bottom. So we'd have to move it up slightly to get it more centred, because when you're wearing the hat, sometimes if you do it too low, you're missing some of the wording. So I'm more happy with the design for this one size-wise. Maybe go a little bit bigger on this one just to give it a chance, because the words are going to be very tiny. So maybe half a centimetre difference. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to reprint it out and we'll see where we go. So let's go. Hey everyone, so I'm going to leave the video here, and it's just because I need to edit this video too. So I've done a whole sheet of testing. So this one was the first one, which is definitely not, you can't read it. This one I made slightly bigger. You can read it to a point, but it is that fine that it's very delicate. Plus, if you can see it, all of the hairs that come over from that one and that one. And that's just because it's not trimming correctly. So I decided to take it from a single line to satin, so the micro fonts did come in useful. I then had to kind of move everything up, so I had the maximum room to fit the words in, because the first one, which is that one there, the letters were so close you couldn't actually tell them apart, so window just kind of looks like nothing in the English language. So separated it out, made it a bit bigger, and then the last one ended up being the best one, which I've moved all of that upwards, so you've got the maximum there. I've moved the circle slightly up from there, so it is slightly more oval, but it's not enough where you can tell. And that's just to be able to squash it down enough to fit onto the cap. So I will be doing the cap press later on, but I do need to get this video up and into the machine. So I'll let you go here. So if you did like this, please like, subscribe, like, subscribe, comment. Love to hear what you're thinking and what you're saying. I also like to hear as well if you've been liking the short form or the long form. Right, so see you later. Bye.